Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah Hajiri. I'm a PhD candidate at MIT in nuclear science and engineering. And I'm here to talk to you about my PhD project. And the way I'll do that is I'll take you on a journey starting from the very big to the very small to the very practical. So big doesn't get as big as the universe. That's the biggest thing we know, right? So some of the most important questions that we have about the universe, including, how old is the universe? Where is all the material made? How is it made? Where does that come from? A lot of those questions, some of the answers to those questions actually come from the physics that happens at the smallest scales. And what I mean by that is, let's take stars as an example. Nuclear reactions, which happen on a very, very small scale, are basically the fuel that powers the stars, and they are the source of all the matter that's around us. So what we did at MIT as part of my PhD is we developed a new framework for understanding how these reactions actually affect these processes. So the typical workflow is you run these massive experiments to try to understand on a small level how these interactions actually occur, these nuclear interactions. You try to run an experiment to see how an atom of uranium, for example, interacts with a neutron. Once you collect all that data, you put that into your simulation, and you simulate a process such as a star or a nuclear reactor or whatever you have that depends on these nuclear reactions. But the important thing to note here is that these experiments that you run, they're fundamentally noisy. There's a lot of uncertainty that comes from them. So what we wanted to understand is how does that uncertainty propagate through the simulation and end up with an uncertainty in the actual simulated results. So what we have done is we developed a framework that is both more physically accurate, but also more computationally friendly. And I really want to focus on that point, because these simulations that we designed were designed specifically to run on the next generation of supercomputers. And Professor Sadoway spoke about steel as a country. If we take these supercomputers, these data centers as a country, and we've heard a lot about the power of supercomputing and cloud computing and how that's become a big thing over the past decade. If you take that as a country, it's the fourth most polluting country in the world. And just 3 years ago, the energy consumption of these supercomputers was 40% larger than the energy consumption of the entire UK. So anything you can do to make these simulations faster, more efficient, they translate directly into savings in carbon and savings in cost of operating these supercomputers. And I said I was going to end with talking about the very practical. One of my favorite areas of applications for this is to look at nuclear reactors. I talked about the emissions savings from these supercomputers. Well, we can also use these same simulations to design better reactors for the next generation of nuclear power that can be both more cheap and safer. And thanks.